Jared here again. Today, why you don't have to be a loner. My father was a regular and avid reader of the old Zane Grey books. That's how I got hold of them, which invariably, or so it seemed, began with a stranger riding into town. He was tall, lean, and always covered with alkali dust. Cool gray eyes peered evenly from under straight brows, and his hand hovered near the 6-gun strapped to his thigh. He had no friends or acquaintances, and seemed to like it that way. He was a man of few words, and kept his own counsel. His world consisted of little more than himself and his horse and the bad guy he was usually after. It makes a good story, and everyone seems to be intrigued by this sort of man of mystery. But in real life, it's a lonely way to live, especially since few of us have horses these days. You cannot know too many people, and we'd all be better off if we could overcome our natural timidity where strangers are concerned, if we could open up more. As a friend of mine who has attained an unusually high position in the world says, open the doors and windows of your mind and heart to others, and you'll reap a wonderful harvest of friends. Many of us have a tendency to speak or smile only after another person has spoken or smiled at us first. We tend to be reactive instead of proactive. It reminds me of the person who sat in front of the cold stove and said, "Give me heat, and then I'll add the wood." The world just doesn't work that way. With a little effort, a person can form the habit of smiling and saying hello first. 19 times out of 20, you'll get a favorable response. I know a man who was the foreign representative for an American electronics firm. He was something of an introvert, and on his frequent flights all over the world, he'd bury himself in a book to keep from having to talk to the passengers next to him. On one trip, a friendly Englishman managed to get a conversation started with him. It turned out the Englishman was on an electronics buying trip to the States, and a large order resulted. Then and there, he decided to change his attitude towards strangers. While it may not result in another business deal, he's meeting all sorts of interesting people and making many new friends. We should never say, he's not my kind of person, or that's not my sort of crowd. Wherever there's a human being, there's a human story, and it's invariably interesting and informative. It stretches our minds, broadens our horizons, and adds to the collection of acquaintances and friends. And all it takes is a smile, the word hello, and a comment or two to get a conversation going. The chances are that the other person is as anxious to add to his collection of friends as we are. But he or she may be just a little on the timid side, as many people are in the presence of strangers. It's true. You can't know too many people, and as we grow older, we should cultivate all the friends we can. The person who shuts others out of his life ends up shutting himself in. Try my friend's advice. Throw open the doors and windows of the mind and heart to others and reap a harvest of friends. Who wants to live with a horse? I think this is great. It's like, it's easy to get caught up in your own life and and kind of your own company. But as he says here, there's, one of the ways to expand your life and expand your horizon, especially because you'll experience a lot more new perspectives, a lot more new ideas when you talk with people. So, getting outside of your own comfort zone and maybe, talking to those, in line, or, even just striking up a conversation with the person, the grocery store. It's always a great way to find out about life and learn a lot more. So, like he said here, you never know what's going to happen in those opportunities. Listen to your intuition. You can feel it too, right? When you're, in a lineup or something like that, you can feel people's energies, and you start tapping into that, you can really expand your circle of friends to people that will mean a lot to you and help you throughout life. So, get open today and get out there and talk with others, especially in these times when, we're struggling to be quote unquote allowed to do that. But take every opportunity to do that as much as you can. You never know what might come of it. All right. So have a wonderful day. Talk to those around you and get interested in them, and you'll become an interesting person. All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. See you tomorrow.